Greetings to whoever is watching. My name is Onalerona Zwane, and I will be presenting my weshare project. For this clip or this portion of the video, I will be demonstrating how I get clone. Right. So first, I go to my profile on GitLab. I should go back. Then I navigate to the personal projects tab, and then I find the relevant repo. In this case, it's already forked, so I don't need to fork it again. Then I go to this code button and copy this clone with SSH link. And then I navigate to the relevant directory, enter in git clone, and I put in my password. I have to put in my password on my personal laptop. Yeah, then when it's done, I go into IntelliJ and open it like so. Yeah, and there is the project. So that is how I get clone. In this portion of the video, I will be showing the first user journey, which is logging in with the student email student4@wethinkcode.co.za and viewing the expenses and payment requests sent and received. I will also be comparing my UI to the UI that is in the PDF, like this. So this is what it's supposed to look like. And okay. Oh wow. Oh, it's loading. So yeah, as you can see, the student doesn't have any expenses. They also don't have any payment requests sent, and they don't have any payment requests received, right? So if the student were to add an expense, let's say there's, bought lunch on my birthday for 50 rand. Huh. Oh, oh, okay. Well, okay. I didn't think of that. Hmm. Can you just change the date, please? To 2005. That's my actual birthday, okay? There we go. So now an expense is logged as, my birthday, the expense is buying lunch, and that is the amount. These fields also remain empty. In this portion, I want to speak to one of the requirements which wanted us to explain how and why data changes. Excuse me. And for that, I'll be talking about this total expenses part because it's the last thing that I showed. So in the expenses controller, I first get my collection of expenses from the database based off of like who logged in. And then in those expenses, I check if that expense has been fully paid by others or not. And if it's not, I add it into, a new array that's called not paid off. And then in that array of the not paid off expenses, I basically just gather up like the price of that extent. And then I put that grand total into the the view model, and that will be rendered or used in the expenses template. Right. I'd also like to demonstrate how I make a payment request. Okay, so now I'll be showing how I make a payment request. I'll be making it to student 3 at within code, and let's keep it at that amount. And by when it should be settled, it should be settled in 2034. Yeah, after that happens, it gets rendered onto this portion of the page. Previous payments requested. Yeah. Okay. I also want to display that I do have a hidden expense ID field over here. And in this portion of the video, I will be partially explaining how a payment request is tracked, and only partially because student 4 at We Think Code does not have any, payment requests received. So I cannot really show that portion. But if we go over to the code, basically after a person hits submit, this payment action method is then called. And what I do is I obtain the payment request UUID from the form parameter, and then I get a collection of the payment requests from the database, and then from there I compare the payment request UUID to whatever payment request ID that we are on now in this for loop. I just compare the two. If they're equal, then I pay off that payment request to student 3 at Breathing Code. Sorry, I pay off that request, and then I log their expense, and that is because I want to make future calculations, right, for how much what is the amount that has been paid, right? And yeah, so then from there I calculate how much was the amount that I paid, and then I take that information for the purposes of adding it to my expense because I paid them, and then I save that expense as like my own in the database. Then I redirect to the payment received page. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and log in with another student. So as you can see, the student already has pre-existing expenses. Um, they also have payment requests received. The one that I made from student 4, which is to buy lunch. Okay, the UI is a bit messed up there, but if you remember, it was for 2034, 50 Rand, and it was for buying lunch, right? So, oh, excuse me. We can demonstrate what happens when the student decides to pay. It does a little checkbox, a tiny one, but still a checkbox. And yeah, wait a minute. In this clip, I want to demonstrate or show actually that the payment button is in fact a hidden form that is only shown in the case whereby a request is unpaid. If it is paid, the checkbox is shown instead, right? And also, full transparency, it does seem to me that even though the payment request upon being paid and checked, it is added as an expense. I'm only recognizing now that this is supposed to be 100 Rand, but for some reason it is zero. So, yeah, my mistake over here. It Your payment request received, it's like a negative value, but yeah, it is added as an expense. And I think that is user journey 4. Okay, so for this clip, I will be logging back in to student 4 so that uh so that I can show that the payment request has been sent or added from student 3. And yeah, I don't owe anybody anything anymore, or student 4 doesn't owe anybody anymore, and also they don't have any more expenses. This portion of the video, I'll be showing the user journey whereby student 1 makes a payment request to student 3. Okay, so we log in as student 1, and I'm going to, okay, let's actually start here. Yeah. So I'm gonna make a payment request for lunch to student 3, and I think they should pay me 120. Yeah, by 2034 they must pay me 120. Oh, okay. So because that's more than the expense amount. 10 rand. Okay. Yeah, so now it's added as a previous payment requested. Student 3 has not paid me, and we can go to payment requests sent, and it should be added. Yes, due in 27 days. Okay. Also, the total is updated there at the bottom. So if we were to go to student 3 and pay off that request, then it should be, yeah, the 10 rand. Okay. Going back to student 1, that should be paid off. Excuse me. Yes, there we go. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Previous payments requested. Student 3 paid off the 10 rand. Yes. Okay. Are we going to keep that? Lele. One last thing I'd like to demonstrate is the fact that the necessary CSS IDs and the query strings are included. If you go on here and you look at the URL, um, the endpoint is not just payment request, it's payment request with the expense ID attached. So how that actually happens or where that comes from is in this form. Excuse me. Yeah. So when you send a payment request, I also send the expense ID as a hidden input form or input value, right? And then in the payments controller, here with the payment request action, which is, the method that is called on when you press send or submit, what happens is I take that expense ID and I just redirect the page to the endpoint associated with this payment request load, which is, I think, payment request, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So I concatenate the expense ID to that URL endpoint like this. I add a string and then I get that expense ID. And this expense ID, it should come from, yeah, from the form parameter, excuse me. Yes. So that's it. I do sincerely hope that I did not leave anything out. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my video as long as it is. Yeah,